The Boston Marathon is the pinnacle of amateur sport. Never mind marathons. Outside of the Olympics, there are very few things that are huge physical challenges, but attainable. And you think about marathon running. There's a point in everyone's life where they view that as impossible. They've decided that's possible. And then they look at the next challenge. Can I run under 3:30? Can I run under 3 hours? Can I punch my ticket to the Boston Marathon? Anytime you run a marathon, you have choices to make about how you want to approach the weekend. It's common to go to a marathon and maybe go on a short run by yourself, go pick up your bib and go run the race. The excitement around the Boston Marathon and the way that the city rallies around this race is absolutely incredible. This city is vibrant. Boylston Street, the Heinz Convention Center, Newbury Street are just bustling with people. Brands are activating, local run clubs, any organization, everybody who's involved in running is here, and there are so many things to get into.
What's going on? You want that probably?
Picking up your bib for the Boston Marathon is when that whole feeling of the work that went into qualifying, the tension that you have when you wait to find out if you've been accepted.
Worked hard for that one. It's nice to get that. Thank you very much.
Is this your first?
Fourth. It feels just as good every time.
There you go.
There's nothing like it, honestly.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the satisfaction of knowing that you're going to cross not just the starting line, but the finish line of the Boston Marathon all hits you when you pick up that bib and you look at it and you know that you've earned that bib. And that's true whether you've qualified on time or if you're participating with a charity. Because the spots are so limited, working with a charity to gain entry to the Boston Marathon is incredibly difficult. People are raising $10,000, $15,000 that is changing people's lives, and the impact that that has is as meaningful in their own and other people's lives as it is for folks who have chased it on time. So everybody at the Boston Marathon has purpose. Everybody is here for a reason that is deeply meaningful to them, and it all hits you when you pick up your bib. What are you most excited about for race day?
Just to start the race, I'll be happy. You know I will finish it, but just to stand on the starting line is everything. Still walking towards the starting line.
Already.
I'm just so incredibly happy I get to do this amazing dream come true. Thank you, Team Abbott. I'm ready to close. Yeah, I'm stronger than Lucas. Thank you. Running the best race in the world. I never thought that I would be here. And it's so amazing. I'm taking it in every second that I'm here. You know, having the opportunity to run Boston. It's just amazing. When I get to that point, when I see the finish line, I try to sprint, to give it all, because I want to prove that I am stronger than my illness, stronger than diabetes, stronger than lupus, and I can do this, you know.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. This is a really special moment for the launch of Team Abbott's program launch. If we get a round of we're joined today by some incredible individuals. I'm going to pass it over to Chris, who leads all global partnerships for Abbott. He's going to tell us more about Team Abbott, and then we're going to talk about it.
So we're at the Team Abbott launch. First, how should people think of Abbott?
Well, it's so great to be here in Boston to celebrate Boston Marathon weekend. Abbott's a global healthcare company. And for us, this is about celebrating health. It's actually our 10th year sponsoring the Abbott World Marathon Majors and the Boston Marathon. So it's a great way for us to showcase what health allows people to achieve.
We're at the Team Abbott launch.
What is Team Abbott?
Well, Team Abbott, it's exciting to launch this today. So first, the Team Abbott is about celebrating all those stories that we know runners have. So many times runners have these great health stories, but we don't know them, we can't tell them and tell those stories. So this allows them to join Team Abbott, us to share those stories, and also take them and they can travel to some really amazing races.
Well, Tyler, we have something for you. I know you like to ask people, but the community does show up. In this case, Abbott is showing up. So we'd like to invite you to Team Abbott. We know that Boston doesn't defer bibs. London's super hard to get into. So when you recover, just focus on that, because in 2026, you're going to have a bib for Boston and London.
Wow. Woke up this morning with a thought on my mind. Studio upstairs, so it's time to hit rewind and record. Talking about going back to a time when this music was there.
We're gonna go to the New Balance Relay, running with New York Road Runners. Bit of a context switch. This marathon relay, we have to cover 26.2 miles. I have to do 2 of them, and I'm just really hoping that this is a relaxed, we're just doing it for fun type marathon, not I get on the track and everyone's been absolutely cooking it and then I have to start hauling 6-minute miles with the marathon on Monday, and there's at least 10 teams going, so we'll see what's in store. But it's at the New Balance track, so I think it's gonna be really, really nice.
More to life than just trying to be whatever it is that you think the world wants you to be. Just live, just live, just live.
Man, Boston Marathon champion. What do you like to do or encourage people to do on marathon weekend around the race?
You know, I encourage people to have fun. That's why at the end of the day, the hay's in the barn. This is not a very competitive, but it might be eventually. Yeah. But to be able to participate in this kind of event is awesome. And, you know, Boston has so much to offer, and people should go out and come and enjoy a lot of the stuff, including the marathon relay.
It's a great way for friends and family as well to kind of take part in the weekend. Absolutely.
I have my brother and my niece here, and she's going to be a journalist, so she's going to shadow me as I do the broadcasting for the Boston Marathon. So there's something for everybody. There's education part of it, there's museum part of it, there's running part of it, and, you know, it's beautiful weather too, so that helps to be outdoors.
Heck yeah.
Loads of room down there. Probably that's funny. Go to the body shop where they wrap cars in the UK. And then they wrap my blades just the same, so all different colours. Started with gold in 2013. Mondays, a little bit of a theme.
I just love that. It's like, yeah, we wrapped it with Corvette. Okay, we're good.
I think there's so many pieces of technology that are still untapped, and we're just kind of touching the surface of what technology can actually do for human beings. And obviously people within the disability community are utilising technology just to have accessibility within sport.
Yeah.
So hopefully by me doing what I do on Monday, it will get those kind of juices flowing about what is actually possible.
Yeah, I mean, and Boston itself, so hard to get here, to qualify, to be on that level, that tier, on top of everything. So, I mean, for you, what does it mean to be here again and represent the way you do?
No, it's a fantastic opportunity for me to be in Boston. I love racing generally. I love being on the start line. It's a journey, obviously, for anybody that starts their training regime or program to then get to a marathon, but then get to a marathon such as Boston where you have to qualify. It's a limited number, and the elite athletes that are on the start line have all had to go through so many hoops to get to the start line, overcome injury and illness, but you'll see the best of everybody on Monday.
The downhills, they were fast. Had a side stitch since the first mile, so trying to be measured, the support has been unreal. The loudest I've ever had at the times I run Boston, the people are out in full force today. It's amazing.
Every year in Boston, it's really easy to oversubscribe yourself. And I think this was a good example of doing that. There are these days where there are so many fun things you can do and so many people to get connected with. It's tough to say no to things. So eager to get to bed early and get a good night's sleep.
Welcome to New England. Yeah. Gale force winds coming out of nowhere.
Watch it like not even rain. Oh, no, it's coming down.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good to see you.
What's going on?
Rob, good to see you.
I've followed you on TikTok since you like posted your first video.
Oh my.
Like a couple of years ago.
That's
It's
embarrassing.
so good.
Wow.
Like 2020, was it 23 when you started really posting them?
Yeah, I think I didn't get a cell phone until 21.
So this is the finish of my 47th straight Boston Marathon. Can you hear those people? They're nuts. They're absolutely nuts. Listen to them. How can you not love this? 47 years, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
48 of these now, tomorrow. Like, why keep coming back to Boston?
Well, for me, Boston, I mean, it's so special. I mean, I grew up knowing about it. Then when I started running it, it just was the fans, the spectators, they're the most knowledgeable marathon people. And they're so kind. They're so blunt. And it's the biggest legalized drinking day in Boston. It's just, at every point, like whether it's Framingham, Natick, of course the Wellesley girls, Newton Lower Falls, you know everything about the course. It's ingrained in me. And I got a little teary-eyed yesterday because they presented 8 of us with this plaque. And I didn't see it coming. It's a plaque that says the BAA recognizes Michael Beaman for over 1,000 miles on the Boston Marathon course. I cried like a baby because I didn't know that they were doing this. And there's only like 8 of us that have done that many.
So you've got the jersey ready. I saw it getting signed yesterday. Wellesley College.
Yes. Well, Wellesley College is, you could say it's to call attention to myself, but I appreciate all the years that I ran by there. I mean, I'll tell you, when I ran by there in the late 70s, early 80s, my sole, I guess you call it, mission was to finish and requalify. I didn't care about college girls. And I ran on the other side of the road so I wouldn't get distracted. I'd wave, but I'd never. And then after about 34 years, they told me, you don't have to qualify anymore. And I said, oh.
When you get to Wellesley, you hear something. You hear this roar coming. That's the Scream Tunnel at Wellesley College. And when you hear the roar of Wellesley College, it lifts you, it floats you all of a sudden. You went from this settled in state, thinking you're running a marathon, to realizing that you're in something so much bigger than yourself.
I just wanna feel like this.
Halfway through the Boston Marathon. Let's go.
As you get through the halfway point of the race still hasn't started. The middle of the Boston Marathon will fool you. It will trick you. It will let you believe that you have the advantage until you don't. When you approach the Newton Hills, they will let you believe that you are further in this race than you are. At mile 17 and a half, you take a turn to the right and you stare down a massive hill. And your hip flexors will clench. Your muscles will react, knowing what you've got ahead of you. And as you go up the subsequent hills, climbing up and up towards Heartbreak Hill, you've got a choice to make. And Heartbreak will let you decide your fate. You can dial back and you can measure your effort, or you can press through them. And whichever way you choose is gonna have a consequence. You get lost in the Newton Hills. The Newton Hills become a forest, and the fatigue and the up and down, you lose a sense of where you are in this race until you see that sign at the top of Heartbreak Hill that says that you've completed Heartbreak Hill, and it bans right across the right across the race, all the way across the street, and then you finally know that you've made it. There is no greater support in the middle of a course than you will have when you turn on the base of Heartbreak and you see everyone in front of Heartbreak running, and they will carry you up the hill. And they will push you all the way to the top of that hill until you see that banner. When you've made it to mile 21 of this race, when you've made it to the top of Heartbreak Hill, your opportunity begins. The race begins. This is where Boston gives you the opportunity to have the best race of your life. Or it's eating you alive.
What does it mean to be back here again?
It's great. I love being back to Boston again. For me, Boston is a special place. Like I said, my pacemaker was implanted 5 days after the New York City Marathon in 2017. The first shirt I put on was a Boston Marathon shirt. We got emotional because I asked my doctors if I could run the 2018 Boston Marathon because I had qualified in on a time qualifier. And they said, yeah, if you follow all the protocols, you can do it. And if everyone remembers that year, that was the rainy year. And I can't lie, I was glad it was raining because I think the last few miles I was just in tears because I was able to run a very strong Boston Marathon because of my Abbott device just several months after having it implanted. So for me, Boston is a place. The Heartbreak Hill's here, but again, with a pacemaker, you never have heartbreak. You always have success.
And also, like Mike's an interesting one. So I've recently been diagnosed with a heart condition, and it's really unsettling to not feel like your best and have it be something, different from a hamstring. Like literally like the engine that keeps you going. So it's pretty great to just know that no matter what you're dealing with, and this is true with Mike, this is true with anybody, you can overcome things that you're dealing with that might be suboptimal. It's not a reason to give up. It's not a reason to stop chasing your dreams. Maybe you have to adjust your goals, but when you see stories like this and you see folks living out their dreams, living out their best life, living their life to the fullest, it's just the inspiration you need to keep going. The reason I was inspired to qualify for the Boston Marathon was to honor my dad. When my dad was diagnosed with cancer, my sister and I decided we're gonna run the Abbott World Marathon Majors. My first marathon was inspired by watching the New York City Marathon with him. We wandered out on a Sunday morning in November, just a few blocks from his apartment, and saw runners finishing as they entered Central Park on mile 25. Ever since that day, I knew I wanted to run a marathon, and a few years later, Nicole and I were able to run the New York City Marathon together. And my favorite running picture of all time is stopping on the side, mile 18, in Harlem, giving my dad a high five as he stood there. And he always loved watching us race. He loved watching us compete. And when he was diagnosed with cancer, we wanted to go on the journey of the Abbott World Marathon Majors, ideally with him, as long as he could be on that journey to celebrate something that he loved watching us do so much. He didn't make it to any more races on that journey, but we knew that we had to continue going on that journey for ourselves, to heal, to bond as a family. Part of that journey for me had to be qualifying for the Boston Marathon. I had done more than 10 marathons, and I had barely been under 4 hours. And so I had a huge bit of time to cut off of my marathon time, but I knew if I put my mind to it, that it was possible. And so I began my training to work towards getting down to 3:30, 3:15, eventually 3 hours to qualify for the marathon, to make that part of completing that Abbott 6-star journey. As we completed that journey, it actually gave me a new perspective on running. Seeing my dad pass away in his 60s was a huge wake-up call for me to think about, look at what he left behind. He wants to be on this planet with his kids. He wants to see us have families. How do I avoid not being here for the years that I want to be here for my family? And running marathons, staying fit is one of the most important things I can do to ensure I've got longevity.